and welcome to Public Global. I am Jalil Rathod from Srinagar. Today, our discussion will not be limited to any specific subject, but we would be talking about a couple of important issues. In the beginning, we will be touching a very sensitive topic that is related to Ladakh region of erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. As you all know, the special status of Jammu and Kashmir was revoked by the central government on 5th of August 2019, and state was divided into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. For the people of Kashmir, it was a shocking decision. However, it was by and large welcomed by the people of Jammu and also by the people of Ladakh. Jammu, where BJP has been dominating for quite some time now, since it is a Hindu majority region, where people had been complaining of being sidelined by the previous governments that ruled the state. They believed that various governments that ruled the state from time to time, having origin from Kashmir and headed by a Kashmiri Muslim, were biased towards Jammu, and therefore people were demanding a separate state for Jammu. Somewhat similar was the case with Ladakh. The predominantly Buddhist region was unhappy for being ruled from Srinagar, despite enjoying reservations and special benefits which were not available to the people of Jammu or people of Kashmir. A couple of decades ago, Ladakhis launched an agitation demanding UT status for the region, complaining that being part of Jammu and Kashmir, they never enjoyed any consideration in the context of development, and there were no visible steps taken by the state governments in order to address the backwardness of the people of the region. The central government's decision to abrogate Article 370 and Article 35 was by and large welcomed by the people, as I already said, in Jammu and Ladakh, who celebrated the change, while in Kashmir, internet was suspended for months and a very long curfew was imposed. On the other hand, the leadership, including former chief ministers and various top-ranking politicians, were detained for a very long time. There in Ladakh, people welcomed the decision of bifurcating the state and giving Ladakh a UT status, their long pending demand. Uh, However, they accepted this UT status without legislature. It's worthwhile to mention that this region had previously, when Jammu and Kashmir was a state, it had three assembly seats and a parliamentary seat. With the passage of time, expectations of the region began to shatter, since the high expectation they had associated with the central government began to die down, and they began to think that they were duped. And according to Ladakhis, central government was not serious about their demands, which included sixth schedule, that is special status of tribal areas under Article 244 of Indian Constitution. The promise of granting sixth schedule had figured among top three agendas of BJP election manifesto for the border region, where more than 97% of the population belongs to scheduled tribes. The Act guarantees certain protections for land and nominal autonomy for citizens in designated tribal areas. With the promises not being met and a long time having passed since Ladakh was declared a union territory, it led to increasing insecurity among the residents of union territory about their land, nature, resources, and livelihood, and stoked fears that the region's cultural identity and ecosystem was in jeopardy. Subsequently, several protests were held, while a noted climate activist from the region, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, held a 21-day long hunger strike ahead of 2024 parliamentary elections. This was followed by a march under his leadership from Ladakh to Delhi, where Wangchuk was detained before holding any significant protest. This followed by a few rounds of talks with the central government without yielding any notable result. The last round of talks was held on 27th May, following which center announced a domicile rule and job reservation for Union Territory in the month of June. The center has also brought in an ordinance to amend the reservation policy for the region. On the other side, Ladakhi leadership called it only a first step and a breakthrough in reaching a resolution. Since then, there has not been any progress towards accepting the demands of Ladakhis, particularly their main demand for granting sixth schedule to the region. Except that the lease agreement of the institution run by Sonam Wangchuk has been cancelled and the facilities has been locked. Disappointed by the central government's approach, this climate activist Sonam Wangchuk and the Leh apex body has announced a fresh 35-day long hunger strike in Leh, demanding statehood for Ladakh and its inclusion under the sixth schedule of the constitution. Wangchuk blamed Center for a non-seriousness and said that Union Home Ministry had not held any meeting with them in last 2 months, despite the negotiations reaching a point where discussions about the main demands were going to start, which has forced them to start a fresh agitation. Now, moving from Ladakh to Chinab Valley of Jammu and Kashmir, the region is presently on boil after the legislator from Doda, Miraj Malik, was arrested and Public Safety Act was slapped against him following his feud with local Deputy Commissioner Harvinder Singh. Public Safety Act is a law that was enacted by the then Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah, in late 70s to deal with timber smugglers, and in later years it was used against drug peddlers, criminals, and even terrorists. The lone AAP MLA from Jammu and Kashmir is accused of using an abusive and foul language against the Deputy Commissioner Doda, Harvinder Singh. On the other hand, Miraj Malik has claimed that the officer was non-cooperative in mitigating the problems of the people and would fail to serve the people's interests without a reason. It's in public domain that for a long time there has been, a kind of rift between the deputy commissioner and the MLA in question. The arrest of people's representative has led to large-scale protests by the residents of Doda, and thousands have hit to streets to express their anger against the arrest, despite authorities having declared restrictions. Restrictions means that this section 144 was put in place and curfew was imposed in the area, in the district. Also, there are reports that the protesters have violated the curfew at some places. Uh, these people who have come out to march in support of Miraj Malik seem to be, not accepting anything except the release of the MLA. So far, authorities have exhibited a flexible approach in dealing with the situation and dealing with the protesters to avoid the situation going out of hands. Various political parties have expressed their criticism for MLA being arrested under Public Safety Act, which is meant for terrorists. National Conference, PDP, and various other parties have come out in open support of the detained leader. They have termed the decision of Deputy Commissioner arbitrary, allegedly influenced by politics. A strong statement has come out from Member of Parliament from Srinagar, Aga Sayyid Ruhullah, against his own party National Conference. He said in a statement that their party had come in power to fight for the rights of the people and not to beg. In the meanwhile, AAP member of Rajya Sabha, Sanjay Singh, who was here in Srinagar yesterday, was put under house arrest in a guest house where he was lodging and was stopped from addressing a press conference which was already announced, and the protest which was already announced, he was stopped from that also. Even senior National Conference, former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, former Union Minister, and former MP from Amira Karat constituency, Dr. Farooq Abdullah, was also stopped from meeting him. In the The situation in Doda presently is quite sensitive at the moment, and authorities are under heavy pressure to deal with the situation in a responsible manner to prevent it from further flaring up. With that, today's episode comes to an end. We will be meeting again soon. Till then, goodbye.